Hello, welcome back. I'm Darren, and we are basically summarizing on my kind of week of testing of upscalers. So, interesting week. It started off a bit fiery. I did react to obviously some of the stuff that I saw, some of the stuff that I read. Obviously, I think a lot of kind of comments were made over the whole FSR 3.1 scenario, and it led to a lot of comments firing back and forth across, AMD bros, Nvidia bros, having a bit of a pop at each other. And it kind of led me into the whole upscalers. Are they important to us? Are they not important to us? Are we overpaying for them? Are we reliant on them? So basically I've run through some videos this week, and hopefully I've shown why I think they are important. Now that's my view. It's important to me. It's a position that I've kind of put myself in by going to 4K, which I completely understand. There's also ways around it. There are games that I could easily drop the graphical settings to probably achieve a playable experience, but at the same time, I'm someone that likes to, as I said to Andrew in the talk that we had, I'm someone that just likes to rightly or wrongly so, crank up the graphic settings too high and just full send it. And normally with DLSS at quality, certainly at 4K, I'm confident that I'm going to be good to go. And probably these videos maybe proved that theory, for me anyway. Now, obviously, we know that there's, it's not rocket, it's nothing new to anyone that there is a bit of an advantage in DLSS with FSR. So that's probably been apparent throughout my videos. Is it a deal breaker? No. Do I still use FSR at 4K? Absolutely. And I've even now got people in the comments even pointing out problems to me that I wasn't even aware of. So I'm definitely not, this isn't a shit on FSR video at all. But I think this kind of video shows that no matter how much money you might have spent at what tier GPU you might be running, that upscalers could be important to you. So I wouldn't say it's just a case of Nvidia are reliant on upscalers, and obviously it's not just a case of AMD are reliant on upscalers. I think obviously if you want to play at 4K and you want to be confident going forward in modern games, I'd say it's something that you should take seriously into consideration. Now, I understand people have negativity towards upscalers. I kind of understand where they are coming from. I'm not sure if I completely agree with where they're coming from. I think when you look at the top tier that is available to us at the moment, so the XTX or the 4090, and you realize what level of hardware you would need to push rasterization to the level that you're getting with upscalers, I think you need to realize that you're looking at a cost of a over £2,000 graphics card pulling 600, 800 watts at the wall. Is that what we want? No. Are Nvidia and AMD doing us a favor? They might be. Obviously there's an argument that are they ripping us off? I don't know. they might be doing us a favour. So yeah, basically this week has kind of shown me how much I rely on upscalers. I didn't even realise myself how much I rely on upscalers. I've now seen that myself. And it's now kind of, rather than just looking at or listening to someone in benchmarks, you know, like a Daniel Owens would, or a Hardware Unbox would say, you know, there's a advantage in this game to DLSS. I think I might have probably shown that advantage within the videos with a bit more context. And I finished off the video with the absolute worst case scenario, which was Escape from Tarkov. So that is, unfortunately, is the worst case scenario. If you watch that video, you will see that it's a game I didn't even realise myself how many hours I have in that game. I know how many hours I will continue to have in that game. And unfortunately for me, FSR is a broken mess in that game. It's just got really bad ghosting, and it is kind of to the degree of it does cause nausea for me in those games. So unfortunately, it is what it is. I think if anyone hasn't already seen it, Terra has put up a really good video yesterday of going through, he did an FSR 3.1 video, and he also covered the FSR on a NVIDIA GPU versus FSR on a AMD GPU, and the differences, or the visual differences between. So I'd probably advise anyone to go over and watch that video, because it kind of concludes what I thought as well. I don't see a difference. He didn't see a difference. He couldn't show a difference. If there is a difference, I would basically call it negligible, to the point of it wouldn't change the conclusion as such. But what he did bring up, which was actually really interesting, and it did actually look good, was how FSR did something with the like the lights in the game. So if you have, obviously, like you know, he was like in city areas with, you know, lights, light bulbs and stuff like that, and they had a really strong glow to them. Now at native it didn't have that, and with DLSS it didn't have that, but with FSR it did, and it actually did look quite good. There was also an instance where FSR did retain, I think he showed like a face on screen, and it did retain a bit more detail. So this isn't a FSR bashing, because FSR does do some good stuff. And he also showed, which is something that I've argued and I have had kickback before, that people perceive native as some sort of absolute gold standard, and everything else below that must be worse. Whereas I actually find there are times when upscalers do look better than native. It's hard to believe, but native isn't, to me, like a 100% pure and perfect. And that could come down to just the anti-aliasing within the game. So yeah, basically my conclusion at the end of this kind of week is, if I woke up tomorrow and Jensen pulled the plug on DLSS, or FSR was no longer available, I would be in trouble. I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed in the level of performance I'd get from my products if that was taken away with me, if that was taken away from them. Because effectively I'd be in a position where I've got a £1,000 and a £1,100 product that I would really struggle to push 60 FPS at 4K. I'd be turning down a lot of graphical settings just to hit that. So it would be a nightmare for me. So I know that's different for different people, and that's totally fine. But for me, I'm coming to appreciate the performance that I can get from them. I think it will be good for AMD if they can make some improvements, because I think for the AMD customers, I think they will appreciate upscalers a lot more as soon as they get to the level of DLSS. And I think a lot of negativity from upscalers will be taken away in the same way that it happened with frame generation. When frame generation launched, there was a huge amount of negativity towards frame generation. And, we had all the fake frames, comments and all the rest of it. And now AMD have a as good as, if not better, frame generation. Those comments have disappeared. And I think that the upscaler comments, I truly believe that if FSR was on par with DLSS, you would not see any negativity towards upscalers anymore. It would vanish, it would be gone. We wouldn't even be in this conversation. I think most people would say upscalers are really good. They're a good tool to have. They help us out to achieve what we need and maybe not have to pay so much money or draw 500 watts at the wall to do so. So I'll wrap this conversation up because there's no need for it to go on too much longer. But for my testing on upscalers, they really matter to me. I think I've shown hopefully a visual, and I think I've shown enough on screen that people can understand why I come to that conclusion, and why I hope that they continue to get better going forward, and while I'm happy to just use them as much as they are available. And I'll end it there. So hopefully if you enjoyed, awesome, maybe give me a like, and I will catch you in the next one.